Hello everyone. In the last class we were discussing about microwave network theory in which we had our last discussion on S matrix representation of multi-port networks. Okay. From now we'll start with microwave passive devices. The first topic I'm taking here is regarding coaxial connectors. So, in coaxial connectors, we make use of BNC cables. These BNC cable means BNC stands for Bayonet Neil Conselman. Why the name is given as Bayonet Neil Conselman? Okay, it is named after its bayonet mount locking mechanism. So there will be a locking pins. So that mechanism and the uh, inventors of that mechanism are Paul Neal and Carl Conselman. So it is named after these two reasons. Okay. So Bayonet Neil Conselman. BNC stands for Bayonet Neil Conselman. So the BNC cables are a type of coaxial cable that uses the BNC connector, which is a common type of radio frequency connector. And these cables are used in amateur radio antennas, aviation electronics, military equipment manufacturing. Okay, there we can see the use of BNC cables. So the BNC connector we can take that as an alternative to the RCA connector. RCA means the Radio Corporation of America. So that kind of RCA connectors, when used for composite video on commercial video devices, even though the consumer electronic devices with RCA jacks can be used uh, with the BNC, only commercial video equipment via a simple adapter. These BNC connectors are commonly used on 10 base to thin Ethernet networks. Okay, 10 base to Ethernet, thin Ethernet networks, both on cable interconnections and network cards. And it also found in recording studios where digital recording equipment uses the connection for synchronization of various components through the transmission of word clock timing signals. These kind of the BNC connectors are having the frequencies which are below 3 gigahertz, and voltages are going to be below 500 volts. The connectors exist in 50 to 75 ohm version, matched for uh, use with cables of the same characteristic impedance. But the 75 ohm types can sometimes be recognized by the reduced electric in the mating ends. The 50 and 75 ohm connectors are typically specified for use at frequencies up to 4 to 2 gigahertz respectively. So means it is a 50 ohm for the frequencies of 4, and 75 ohms are for the frequencies for 2 gigahertz. Okay, so what happens to the frequencies which are below 10 megahertz? Then the impedance mismatch is going to be there between the 50 ohm connector and the 75 ohm connector. So that difference, whatever the impedance mismatch difference will be there, no, that is going to be the negligible effects we are going to consider. Okay, that can be considered as the negligible effects. So these BNC connectors were originally made only in 50 ohm versions. Okay, Um the mismatch sometimes becomes progressively more significant and can lead to signal reflections. So it should be taken care of at what range we are using it. Okay, so usually uh, originally these BNC connectors are made only in 50 ohm versions. Okay, next you can see the figure. So these are the BNC connectors. Okay, there will be a center pin. How to make the BNC cable termination, it is given here. So a BNC connector will be there. Okay, center pin and a crimp barrel associated with braided shield, foil shield and center conductor. Okay, so we'll see the attenuators now. It is also important from the examination point of view. Okay, the attenuators, a device used to control the amount of microwave power transferred from one point to another on a microwave transmission system, is called microwave attenuator. That is a device that controls the amount of microwave power which is transmitted from one point to another point. No, in a microwave transmission system, that is going to be called as a microwave attenuator. These attenuators will control the flow of microwave power either by reflecting it or by absorbing it. It may reflect and allow the signal to flow back, or it can absorb the signal. Okay, so there are two types of attenuators. Okay, the fixed or variable type. Now we are with the fixed attenuators. Okay, there is a waveguide wall is there. Okay, uh, after that there is a power absorbing pad. Two metal rods are there which are very thin. Okay, so here we are applying the microwave power to the power absorbing pad. It may absorb the power or it may ask it to it may reflect that. Okay, so fixed attenuators, it consists of a dissipative element called pad. This is the dissipative element which is placed in a waveguide. It is placed in a waveguide. The pad is placed in such a way that its plane is parallel to the electric field. Its plane is parallel to the electric field. For this, two thin metal rods are used. So here we are going to create the electric field that should be the uh, alignment of pad should be parallel to that electric field. Okay, then the pad is tapered for providing gradual transition from the waveguide medium to the absorbing medium of the pad. This is also reduces the reflection. Okay, so it is seen the side view of a fixed attenuator will be like this. The amount of power that a fixed attenuator absorb depends on various parameters. So, what are those parameters on which the amount of power that a fixed attenuator can absorb? Okay, the first one is strength of dielectric field. The first one is the strength of the dielectric field produced. Then next is the location of the pad within the waveguide. Where exactly we have to provide the uh, pad. As I told you, wherever the electric field is going to be generated, to that the pad should be parallel in the waveguide. Okay, that location it will also matters. So, strength of the dielectric field is the first thing we need to consider. Okay. So, next is the location of pad within waveguide. Next is area of pad. Okay, how much area it is there for that pad, and frequency of operation. Next comes the pad material used for power absorption. So the amount of power that a fixed attenuator can absorb fixed attenuator can absorb depends on these parameters: strength of the dielectric field, location of pad within waveguide, area of pad, frequency of operation, and the pad material used for power absorption. Okay, so the fixed attenuators are used where fixed amount of attenuation is required. Okay, next we'll discuss about the variable attenuator. This is a second type of attenuators. So the variable attenuator provides continuous attenuation. The amount of attenuation introduced is controlled by depth of insertion of absorbing plate. So which is inside the waveguide. There will be a absorbing plate now. So the pad that whatever we have seen in the previous case. So like that, there will be an absorbing plate in this case also. Okay. So the amount of attenuation introduced is going to be controlled by the depth of insertion of absorbing plate inside the waveguide. For this, a knob and gear assembly is used as shown in this figure. Okay, so adjustable knob and gear assembly it is shown here. Okay, so there will be a dissipative pad here, and the microwave power is going to be applied here. So the amount of attenuation is going to be controlled by the depth of insertion of absorbing plate. Which is doing that job is the knob and the gear assembly that we are making use of. Okay, so the knob can be calibrated suitably, and the maximum attenuation will be offered when the pad extends all the way across the waveguide. Okay, when the dissipative pad it is going to be extended all the way across this waveguide, no, at that time we can expect the maximum attenuation in variable attenuators. Hope you understood. This is about the variable attenuator. Okay, for 5 or 6 marks there will be these questions. Okay, attenuators. So there will be a question based on this particular topic. It is going to be for 5 or 6 marks. Next we'll go to the phase shifters. So the phase delay due to any waveguide length L. Okay, when you any waveguide length L. Okay, so the phase delay due to any waveguide length is going to be given by beta L is equal to 2 pi L divided by lambda g, where this lambda g is the guide waveguide length. Okay, guide wavelength we call that as. So the phase can be controlled by varying the lambda g, that is by varying either uh, uh, the er. Okay, by varying either er or the guide width a. Okay, so you forget about this thing. So the phase can be controlled by varying the guide wavelength lambda g. Keep this thing in mind. Okay, so here we have got dielectric phase shifters, rotary phase shifters, again hybrid phase shifters. Okay, So one by one we'll see. Okay. So the effective dielectric constant of any insulating region within any waveguide is going to be uh, varied. Okay, how it is going to be varied? It is as shown in this figure. Okay, so there is non-radiating slots will be there, and a low loss uh, dielectric medium is there. Okay, so the this figure is the dielectric type variable phase shifter in rectangular waveguide. So here the insertion of dielectric into the air filled guide at some point of the maximum electric field increases the effective dielectric constant. Okay, the insertion of dielectric into the air filled waveguide wave filled air filled wave at some point of maximum electric field, that is going to increase the effective dielectric constant. Okay, what is a rotary phase shifter? So, the important parts in any rotary phase shifter are the three circular waveguide sections. Okay, three circular waveguide sections and a single rotatable waveguide section. Okay, so the fixed sections are quarter wave plates, we call that as. So quarter wave plates, and rotatable sections are half wave plates. Okay, so the structure of rotary phase shifter, it is given in the figure. Input transition is there, output transition will be there, and fixed quarter wave plate is there. Okay, there are two fixed quarter wave plates and a rotatable half wave plate. As I told you, uh, the fixed sections are quarter wave plates and rotatable sections are half wave plate. Okay, fixed sections are quarter wave plates, and so these are the fixed sections, and the rotatable section is known as the half wave plate. Okay, the vector phase analysis is used for the phase representation of any input and output of transverse electric field and the transverse electric field of the propagation mode. Okay, the vector phase analysis is used for the phase representation of input and output of transverse electric field of propagation mode. But the rotary phase shifter is suitable only for low power applications, typically with which are having the applications with a few watts. Okay, only for low power applications which may consider some few watts. No, only for that cases the rotary phase shifter is suitable. The circularly polarized field is a field with x and some x and y components of electric field that are equal in magnitude but 90 degrees apart uh, in we call that as time phase. Okay, so these quarter wave plates, it quarter wave plate is a device, and it produces circularly polarized wave when linearly polarized wave is incident upon it. Okay, when a linearly polarized wave is going to be incident on a quarter wave plate, at that time it is going to produce the circularly polarized wave. Okay, so when uh, the TE11 terminal equipment 11 mode is polarized parallel to the slab, the propagation constant, that is propagation constant means it is beta beta. Okay, as a TE11 we are taking, I'm going to call that as beta 1. Okay, so the propagation constant beta 1 is going to be greater than when mode is polarized perpendicular to the slab. That is beta 1 is going to be greater than beta 2 always. Okay, some conditions are there. Here, the length of the quarter wave is chosen so that the differential phase change, that is beta 1 is greater than beta 2, that is going into the length L is going to be equal to 90 degrees. Okay, so the length of the quarter wave is chosen so that the differential phase change, that is beta 1 greater than beta 2 into the length of the waveguide, that should be equal to 90 degrees. So consider EI as the maximum electric field strength of this mode TE11. Okay, at that time the E naught is going to be equal to EI by root 2. Okay, ei and e naught ei is equal to e naught into e to the power of minus j beta 1 l. This thing we have already seen. Okay, so the resultant electric field strength at the output, it is going to be given as the field strength at the input into e to the power of minus j into 2 theta plus 4 beta 1 l. Therefore the polarization of e out, electric field at the output, and the input are same except for the phase change, that is the phase is delta phi, which is, it is given now 2 theta plus 4 beta 1 l, that radians. Instead of that, it is going to be equal. Okay, so a quarter wave plate will be seen like this. There will be a dielectric slab. Okay, there will be x and y that we have considered. Okay, so circular polarized field, which is having the field with x and y components of electric field, no, which are equal in magnitude but 90 degrees apart in time phase. Okay, so here beta 1 minus beta 2 into L is equal to pi by 2, that is 90 degrees. Okay, so this beta 1 should be always be greater than beta 2. So at a given frequency, that 4 beta 1 L remains constant, and the change in phase is achieved by varying the theta. Okay, theta of the half wave plate with respect to the quarter wave. So the next is the hybrid phase shifters. The figure is showing the hybrid phase shifter. Okay, uh, it is used for higher power applications as in the previous case. So as the rotatory phase shifters are used for lower power applications, which may include from some few watts of power. Okay, these hybrid phase shifters are for higher power applications. Okay, it consists of 3 dB short slot coupler and a pair of movable short circuits. The shorts are mechanically connected as single movable. Okay, you can observe in the figure. So it is consisting of 3 dB short slot coupler, 3 dB short slot coupler, and a pair of movable short circuits. The shorts are mechanically connected. Okay, so it also consists of two rectangular guides with width A with a narrow wall. A part of wall is removed to allow energy coupling between guides. So what all it is consisting of? It consists of 3 dB short slot coupler and a pair of movable short circuits. Okay, so these short are mechanically connected as single movable unit. So there are two movable short circuits. They are mechanically connected with each other as a single movable unit. And also it consists of uh, rectangular waveguides. Okay, rectangular waveguides with uh, width A with a common narrow wall. A part of wall is removed to allow energy coupling between guides. The power entering at port 1 splits equally between port 3 and 4. So whatever the power it is entering at this point is going to split equally between port 3 and 4 with no power delivered to port 2. So port 2 is not allowed to uh, consume the power. Okay, so whatever the input we are getting here, it is going to be equally split into port 3 and port 4. Understood? Also, the wave arriving at port 3 is phase delayed by 90 degrees relative to the port 4. Okay, so the wave arriving at this port is delayed by pi by 2 or 90 degrees with respect to the port 4. Okay, thus the coupler symmetry ensures similar effects when power is injected at any of other parts. So the name hybrid phase shifter. The phasor representation is also there for this. So this is giving us the phasor representation of hybrid phase shifters. So you can observe the shots on these two ends. Okay, there is input, output. When we apply the input, it equally divides upon the port 2 and 3, port 3 and 4, and it won't enter port 2, which is the output end. Okay, so you can observe this. Okay, so whatever the wave uh, arriving at the port 3, it is there, it is going to be, this is the port 3, no, it is having a phase delayed, the phase is delayed by 90 degrees relative to the wave at port 4. Okay, so when we compare the wave at port 4, no, so when we compare that with the wave at port 3, then the port 3 wave at port 3 is having a phase delay of 90 degrees. You can observe here. It is point E by my pi by 2 is there. Okay. At port 4, it is only point 0.5 at an angle 0. Okay. So in the next class, we'll discuss about the waveguide T's. Thank you.